My friends, what's happening? Greetings from La Ciudad de Nueva York. Hope everybody's well. Hope good things are happening to you. I really do. And I appreciate you taking the time to watch the show. Let's have some fun today. Let's talk about the tie that binds us together. Music. You know what I'm saying? Good. Good to see everybody. Hey, Spikey, what's up? First show of the year. That's right. It is the first show of the year. I'm not sure what's going on, but an awful lot of people are watching the show lately. Go figure. There's an ebb and a flow to this thing, but the Candace show and the Harley show were really a lot of people watched. Wow. People go, they come back. You know, there's an ebb and a flow. Speaking, AI will take over the music scene in 2026. Might not be in 2026, but it's going to happen. That's for sure. Pretty soon there'll be like some AI version of me. Like, hey, let me get a New York Hardcore Chronicles live episode with Drew Stone hosting and, you know, Jim Morrison. And like, they have me interviewing Jim Morrison. Like, hey man, that time you whipped out your schmeckle in Miami. Like, you know, how did that whole thing, like, what was that about, bro? You know? Speaking of schmeckles, let's bring our co-host on. Ladies and gentlemen, Joel Goss.
Well, happy New Year to you too, Drew.
I'm sorry I didn't dig out your I didn't dig out your intro that we worked on together, but
well, I'll be back in 2 weeks. We'll try.
But I thought that was pretty good.
That was a beautiful segue. Thank you. Now I got Schmeckles on my mind.
Yeah. Pretty soon it'll be like AI. Like, let me get, Drew interviewing, Sid Barrett.
Drew, I'm a professional writer.
Yeah.
Fuck AI.
My brother's very, very deep into it, man, in Hollywood. He's like at the cutting edge of it. I mean, what we're seeing on Instagram and on social media and all that crap, I mean, that's Mickey Mouse compared. My brother's showing me stuff. It's bananas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're all just becoming test subjects for this shit on social media anyway.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, that's a happy note to start the show on. Hello, everybody.
Yeah.
Glad you're all here.
Everybody. Listen, the end is near.
Yes.
And, but hey, not to bring Jim Morrison back into it, but I'm going to have my kicks before the whole shit house caves in.
Oh, yeah. What
Skynet. That's right, John. Skynet. Yep.
Yeah.
Speaking of Skynet, ladies and gentlemen, the hardcore Shutterbug.
What's up there? Dr. Schmeckle and Mr. Hyde.
Yep.
Great. So that's my name now, huh? Dr. Schmeckle.
Skynet is coming.
That's right.
You're the first one. You're the first one they're coming after, bro.
If you're really Drew Stone, how can we tell?
I'm not really. I'm not. It's like Westworld. Remember Westworld?
Well, that's right.
I can prove that I'm a living human being, as AI would never have perfected this combination. First of all, I'm suitably attired today.
Mm-hmm.
Most importantly, I have my Barry Manilow coffee mug because we are talking about death metal, so one does what one must.
That's right.
That's a very organic combination if there ever is one.
Yep.
Listen, you can't go wrong, Manilow. It's right next to Manowar in the record store.
Manilow, Manowar.
You can pick up both at the same time.
Manilow. Hey, we were talking about photos for today's show, and I was discussing with Steven where our guest is from, and we sort of arrived at these guys. Steven, these are older shots because these guys aren't in the band anymore,
actually,
right?
Both of them are pretty much out of the band now.
Yeah.
Because Glenn has medical issues. He makes a brief appearance every now and then. This, of course, is Judas Priest. KK Downing left the band on his own years ago and then was sort of angry that they didn't want to let him back in because they replaced him. But they did bring him back for the Hall of Fame, which was very cool.
Right.
But he, I mean, when you think Birmingham, the first two bands that come to my mind, of course, are Sabbath and Priest. And
this is Glenn Tipton, right?
That is Glenn Tipton. Yes, these pictures are actually from 2005. So these are 21 years ago.
Are these from the Nassau Coliseum?
No, these are actually from Jones Beach.
Right down the road from the Nassau Coliseum.
Oh, I have pictures of them from the 80s from the Coliseum.
Yeah.
But this is when Rob rejoined the band, when he had quit and then came back for Angel of Retribution, which is a fantastic record. But yeah, they came back in fine form, really. And even now with Richie Faulkner replacing them, they still deliver the goods, so to speak,
They pardon the pun.
But I absolutely, grew up, I kind of went from Sabbath and Purple to Maiden and Priest. Like, those two bands are like part of my DNA,
I saw Priest with Ripper Owens, actually.
Oh, there you go. I mean,
yeah,
guy could really sing, but he wasn't much of a writer,
He was great. Yeah.
It's funny, you saw Priest with Ripper and you saw Maiden with Blaze.
The only time I ever saw Iron Maiden was with Blaze Bayley. And was that the only time I saw Priest? I saw Priest at the US Festival in 82.
That's a classic.
Yeah.
They finally released that on CD and DVD because that's a classic Priest show. That's Screaming for Vengeance.
Yo, dude came out with full leather riding the Harley at like 300 degrees in the desert. It was like, what the fuck's this guy thinking?
That show, we should just do a show and let you talk about the entire show because That's one of those shows. I
Oh yeah, let me talk about the US Festival. How I got arrested for selling LSD, and yeah, and how I got out of it, I've told that story on the show.
You're here to tell the tale, so
yeah.
And it's good that you don't. You were just selling, though. You weren't participating.
Here you go.
There he is.
He's doing he's doing the horns.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I saw his solo band, in fact, with Ripper Owens singing in KK's Priest.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, which is still good, but it's not Priest. It's not Rob Halford. I mean,
it's not Rob Halford, man.
Best show ever. You go as well to that show?
No, she wasn't there. No.
Well, maybe.
You know who was great? Not to dive. You know who was great at the US Festival in '82? It was the last show the Clash played with Mick Jones, and I was really close, and I saw that. It was the last show Mick Jones ever played with them, and I think they paid Van Halen $1 million to play, and they were worth every penny.
I think.
I mean, they were worth. They were really something else in 1983.
Bowie was getting $1 million. And I think Van Halen said they would do it for $1.2 million. Like they wanted to be the highest paid band. So it was a little more than $1 million, I believe.
Yeah.
Which is crazy, especially back then.
That's a story for another day.
I mean, you're talking about 40 something years ago. That's like getting 50 million today. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, I wonder what Taylor Swift gets for a festival,
It was a big deal then, but yeah, it was crazy. It was one day was like New Wave Day, one day was Heavy Metal Day, and then the last day Bowie was headlining. The Clash headlined the first day, Van Halen the second day, and Bowie I think the third.
And
day.
You were there for the whole soup to nuts.
The whole thing, bro. Wow. Don't even ask what I was doing. We were. I was there, like hustling. Yeah, it was great.
That's classic.
Anyway, well, thank you.
Thank you.
And looking forward to our guest, and we'll sort of tie this stuff together.
Absolutely.
What day were you arrested?
Which day?
Which day? Oh, what day? I don't remember what. Might have been the first day. Might have been right out of the box. The first day, like out there hustling drugas, and got popped, and then got out of it.
So, I was gonna say, if you were there for the rest of the show.
Yeah, it's a crazy story. We'll get into that some other time.
Absolutely.
All right, Stephen. We'll see you later. All right. It's the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live. Hope everybody's doing well. We are sponsored by the Texas Silver Rush, DTFM Vinyl Distro, Generation Records, 126 Hardcore Clothing, Women of the Pit, She Devil's Coven, and Minty Fresh Presents. They're a promotion company that put on hardcore metal shows in Locals Bar in Manalapan, New Jersey. Founded by Chris Golis of Bulldoze and Frankie DeAngelis of Silence Equals Death, the shows are all ages with plenty of free parking. The kitchen's open all night and the bar until 2 a.m. If you're a band looking to play and you don't totally suck, or if you do suck but draw a fuckload of people, reach out to them at mintyfreshpresents@gmail.com. Ticket pre-sales for events are available at mintyfreshnewjersey.com. Check them out on Instagram at Minty Fresh New Jersey and help spread the word to support DIY hardcore metal in Central New Jersey. Minty Fresh Presents. That said, put your shoes and socks on, kids. Let's bring our singer on. Let's clear the deck. Let's make sure nobody's killing each other in the chat room. Everybody seems okay. All right. And away we go. Today's guest is a singer-songwriter hailing from Birmingham, England. He's a pioneer in the death metal genre, and in his incredibly proficient career, he is best known for his work with the bands Benediction, Bolt Thrower, Downlord, Down Among the Dead Men, Hail of Bullets, and Echelon. Please welcome a first coming at us from Copenhagen, Denmark, Mr. David Ingram. Hey.
How you doing, everybody? How's it going?
Hey.
Good to see you, man.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me on. It's an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, we're gonna have we'll have some fun, and hopefully we'll have a couple laughs, right?
Absolutely. There's a few things. I was listening from the green room, the backstage room, and you were talking about Judas Priest, and what was the other one you were talking about? There was Blaze Bailey. Yeah. Well, see, I got some connections with that. I
Is that right?
to you about. Yeah. I mean, do you want it now, or do you want to wait for a little later? Or?
Why don't we wait until we sort of arrive at Birmingham, and then?
All right.
Yeah. Okay. So let's just get to it. How did you come up? Did you grow up in a musical household? How did music come into your life?
Wow. Yeah, there was always music. Mum and my biological father, he listened to Neil Diamond. So I know pretty much everything by Neil Diamond. And my mum was like Simon and Garfunkel, Pink Floyd, and some Bread, if you remember them.
Of course.
There was always music on, especially on a Sunday. The weekend even, blast music. So, and it was 7 years old. My sister had got into Black Sabbath. And I was 7 years old, and I borrowed the Sabbath Bloody Sabbath album from her and played it. And it was just that crystallization moment when that riff kicked in. I knew what I wanted to listen to, and it was that sort of music.
So kind of one of my leadoff questions, just growing up in Birmingham, was Black Sabbath sort of prevalent, just in the neighborhood, in the area, being there from Birmingham as well?
It wasn't like today. I mean, because we have the internet, so everything's prevalent everywhere.
Sure.
But yeah, there was talk of it in the pubs and bars. Not that I was going there at 7 years old. It was more like 10 or 12 when I was hitting the pub. But yeah, it was there. It was around. But you get it a lot on the radio, sometimes on TV, on the local TV shows. But yeah, it was there. And everyone would talk about, obviously, the Birmingham bands, Black Sabbath. There was also Judas Priest as well. They were from Wolverhampton, a little bit away from Birmingham, but not too far. But yeah, there was certainly a lot of conversation going on about it when we were out and about. Anybody
isn't well, obviously Napalm Death is from Birmingham, right? And I think Godflesh too, I believe. But isn't Duran Duran from Birmingham?
Duran Duran, UB40. Oh. Yeah. There's a few sort of non-metal bands from there as well.
Yeah. So
Slade.
Slade. Wow.
Yeah. And my uncle went to school with Noddy Holder, so yeah.
Wow.
Birmingham being it's a lot like Pittsburgh here in the States. It's an industrial city. Correct me if I'm wrong, but when I think of Birmingham, isn't like Sheffield sort of a similar type of city known for its industry early on?
Yeah, it was. I mean, the Midlands was the birthplace of the Industrial Revolution.
Right.
The area I come from is called the Black Country, and that's because people would go out to work. They would come home completely black from.
Is that where that's from? I never knew where that came from.
The Black Country. Oh,
right.
Don't talk like this. We don't. So yeah, I won't break into the accent, otherwise we'll be here all night. It was a very industrial place. I mean, I used to grow up and play. My grandparents' place was right next to a factory. So I'd be sort of hanging out, playing around in the factory grounds, and they were closed. So yeah.
So is it safe to say was Black Sabbath the first music that spoke to you, that you felt like this is mine?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. From Black Sabbath, there was other heavy metal bands that came out, and Iron Maiden, Kiss. I sort of got into that, but for the first 5 or 6 years, it was nothing but Black Sabbath. Maybe a little Status Quo here and there as well, and some Budgie as well. But Black Sabbath was and it still is. They're still my favourite band. I mean, I've got almost 1.5 of those sections up here of just Black Sabbath vinyl bootlegs and stuff. I've got like the same gig, I think, about 8 times on vinyl. Just
Wow.
the cover's different.
I mean, Joel, you have a bit of a Black Sabbath connection, huh?
Oh yeah, yeah, and I'm very much the same way, man. I've got so many vinyl bootlegs and all kinds of memorabilia. It's crazy with Sabbath, but gotta give props to the greatest heavy metal band ever. I always find it interesting because obviously, this show is called the New York Hardcore Chronicles, right? So obviously, hardcore in America, there's a certain vibe that comes out of New York, when it's a New York hardcore band. Same thing, like with Tampa and those death metal bands. There's a scene there. Birmingham is ground zero for heavy metal, in my opinion. Having grown up in that culture and obviously being introduced to those bands and being in bands yourself moving forward, what is it about that city that lends itself so much to the sound and the aesthetic of so much classic metal, not just traditionally, but obviously with death metal and things like that moving forward? That was a question.
Sorry, was that to me?
Yeah, I'm sorry, David.
Sorry, man.
Well, I'm glad you agree.
Hey, I can take a crack at it.
Yeah. Sorry, someone put something in the chat about the vinyl, and
I bet Dave has all the original Vertigo label Sabbath records.
Yeah, and I was nodding my head, and I was reading that, and I wasn't listening to Joel. I do apologize.
Yeah, the chat room. Don't let the chat room throw you off, man.
Yeah. Also, I wasn't wearing my glasses, so I couldn't read it. So I was like, So, yeah.
Trust me, I'm sure the chat room was more interesting than me anyway, so no worries at all.
I apologize for that, Joel.
No, I just wanted
another beer I owe you.
All right. Well, yeah, we had plenty a few years ago, but that's a whole other episode.
Yeah.
Rephrase that question, please, Joel.
Yeah, just what is it about Birmingham, man? You think that the seed was obviously planted in that city, and that tradition carries on today, not just with the classic bands that we all know, but death metal really took root there, yourself included. What stands out about that city that perhaps lended itself so beautifully to heavy metal as a genre and as a phenomenon?
I think it was the industrial side to the whole city. Wherever you went, it was dirty. They've modernized it now, which is a real shame because it's lost a lot of its character. And that's what it was as well. It was the character of the city that laid not just the banging sounds of industry that would give you your heavy metal head. I think Tony Iommi once said about that the sounds of the city gave him his heavy metal head, and that resonated with me. And I think that and the whole vibe of the town itself does resonate with the musician, the artist within a person, and it gives it that sort of hard-hitting heavy metal edge. I can't think of another word for it, but yeah, I believe it was the city itself that helped spawn this genre and all the other genres.
I think as well with Birmingham, from my experience, knowing several Birmingham musicians over the years, it's a culture too where, maybe you know clearer than I do, but there's such a lack of pretense with people from Birmingham. Very much feet on the ground. There's no, I'm above someone else. You talk to Bill Ward, for example, you're not talking to Bill Ward from the world famous Black Sabbath. You're talking to Bill from Birmingham, and I think there is a distinction there, so very much a working class city, and, obviously created the greatest, one of the greatest musical sounds ever. And it just keeps going and going and going to now.
Count Ralph says, Rob Halford always talked about how Birmingham was an industrial city with the sounds of machines nonstop.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. Birmingham was like that. 60s, 70s, 80s, and I would say the early part of the 90s. It began to get sort of gentrified and modernized, and a lot of places were closing down. We've lost a lot of venues. My favorite pub, the Costermongers, I think it's scheduled to be demolished.
Wow.
Which is bloody heartbreaking. I spent half my life in there. So yeah, a lot of the venues are gone. In fact, there was a hotel that I stayed at last time I went over to Birmingham to rehearse with Benediction. I stayed in a hotel, and I worked it out that the room I was in used to have been the backstage room for the venue that we've played with Benediction, just Edwards number 8.
Wow.
The backstage room. Yeah, I worked it out by looking out the window.
That's
where
great.
the backstage room would have been, because they got converted. There was a fire, the venue was gutted, and they just rebuilt it as a hotel.
Wow, incredible. You mentioned Judas Priest and the connection there. So now we've arrived.
Okay.
Let's do the Judas Priest thing.
All right. Well, it was more with Tim, actually, Ripper Owens. I don't know if you heard the story about Tim was found in a band in Cleveland. In Cleveland, a band called
sort of like a Judas Priest. I don't want to say cover band, but like a tribute band.
They were a tribute band. Yeah. And he was playing, and this band showed up who were visiting from out of town, and saw them play, and they went over to him and they said, "Dude, you've got to go for Judas Priest. You should get the job." And he was like, "No." And this band pushed him into it. I don't know if you ever heard the story, because it was Benediction.
Oh, wow.
We were at the gig. We actually got on stage and played a couple of numbers with their instruments. And then afterwards, we were talking to Tim, saying, "Just go for it. Get in touch with the management. Here's the management." We sort of wrote the name down and gave it to him. And when we got home after the American tour, about 4 months later, 5 months, there's an article in Kerrang magazine, and he got the job, and we were over the moon for him. So.
Oh, that's fantastic! What a great story.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. And he did a great job. He was great.
I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, it was great.
Saw him live in Birmingham, 2000. No, I was recording the Bolt Thrower album, so that was that was the same year as 9/11. So yeah, that year.
2001. 2000.
2000.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we were recording the album when all that happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I saw him that year, and I thought he was great. I really thought he was good.
Yeah, great story. And I don't know, what was that movie? What was that movie? Rockstar with Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah.
I do believe that film was sort of loosely based on the Tim Ripper Owens story. I actually had a little involvement in that film when they were shooting it, the production wise, and we went to the set a little bit. Bob Gepardi was involved in it, but the film it had a couple moments. There was it had some, but it fell a little short. But anything with Mark Wahlberg, it's not i.e. Planet of the Apes or anything like that,
Yeah.
So, but yeah. So, what was you're getting it going, and what was your first band, or what inspired you to kind of get up on stage and start performing?
Well, I was in a few bands that we never got out of the rehearsal room. The first gig I ever played wasn't really a gig. We played Paranoid, the cover version of Paranoid at the school disco. We just sort of walked in with the equipment, plugged in, played it, and then walked out again. And that was basically it. Wasn't really a gig. But I was in a band called Plague HDC. That stood for Hippie Doomcore. We just played some weird stuff that we wanted to sound like Amoebics and Discharge, or sort of a mishmash of that. But yeah, we were okay. And the singer decided to go away. I was a bass player at the time, actually. I should say that. The singer decided to go away and travel for 6 months, and we got a couple of gigs. So I took over vocals. Now, I found out I could sing pretty okay, but I couldn't play the bass at the same time. And I wasn't particularly good bass player. So I decided I just wanted to be a singer in the end. Also, I don't have to carry as much, and you don't have to do loading. Well, I don't. I mean, and then, the call came for the Benediction. We're looking for a singer. So I went and auditioned with them at a rehearsal room. And about a week later, I got the job.
When you say the call came, was this because Barney left and they were looking for somebody?
Well, they were in the pub, and I walked in. It was just one of those lucky happenstances. I walked in the pub and I saw him, and I said, "Hey guys, what's the matter? You're looking a bit down." And they said, "Oh, Barney's quit to be Napalm Death full time. We need a singer." And I said, "I'll audition." And they said, okay, come to the rehearsal room on Saturday morning, and we'll see how it goes. And there were 2 other guys who were waiting outside to audition, but they didn't let them in. They just wanted to carry on with me, which I thought was a good sign. So.
Yeah. I think Joel, set the table a little bit for the uninitiated that might be watching. Benediction initially was started with Barney.
Right. Yeah. Barney Greenway, who joined Napalm Death, he followed Lee Dorian when Lee left the band to start Cathedral, I believe. Barney joined Napalm, and that's when Napalm kind of broke in the States. They went on the first U.S. tour with Barney, and their history is their history. But Benediction, particularly Dave, your first run in that band, early to mid-ish 90s, produced a series of classic albums, and you guys really established yourselves. I remember even being in the States, and at that age, I was freshman, sophomore in high school, young kid, reading about Benediction. And, that band really was part of that great wave of the early 90s death metal scene, which in the States was such a big thing. If you were in the underground music, death metal was it for a few years there. And Benediction, man, there's so many great records that you sang on. I don't want to pick favorites, but I will. As far as I'm concerned, your initial run with that band produced quite a few classics, but one that stands out for me, Transcender Rubicon, is a brilliant album. So I was thinking, because I know we could do a 10-hour show otherwise, but to kind of highlight certain elements of Benediction and your first run with them, tell me a bit about that record and what your perspective is and how you would rate it ultimately in that first series of albums you did with the band.
Well, I think it was when we were having the playback of the album. We'd finished the recording, and all the recording we'd done. We'd had a lot of fun recording it. And it was the longest we'd had in a studio. I think it was about 3-4 weeks, I think. And then we had some extra days as well. And we also had some guests come in. We got Jan Chris from Gorefest and Carl from Bolt Thrower. They came in and did some cover versions, singing with us. And it was a lot of fun. And it was in this tiny little village outside of the city. We wanted to be away, so it was quiet, where we wouldn't be disturbed. And there was like one pub, and we just go to that for lunch, and then come back. And it was really great. But I think it was the playback when the final production and the mix had been done, and we thought, hey, we've done something good here, and we actually felt that. And we were all sort of not nudging ourselves like, this is really good, because we felt sort of humbled enough not to go out there and say this is the best thing that you'll ever have heard in your life, when we should have been, because it was fucking awesome,
Yeah.
I love that album, and it's good that you bring it up as a favorite, because it is a lot of the fan favorites as well. I think next year it's 25 or 35 years old, something. I don't know, my maths is rubbish, but I think 35 years old. So we're doing some shows. I think we're doing the entire album. And
oh wow!
It's very select shows.
That's great.
Very, very, very select shows. So the ones that pay us the most.
Yeah, there you go. And there's the back of the CD, right?
Oh wow!
When CDs were happening, right?
Look at that young pouty bastard in the middle.
Yeah, yeah. Fantastic. Do you and I quote the Holy Trinity of the Grand? Am I pronouncing it right, Joe? Levelier?
It's Leveler, right?
Leveler. The Holy Trinity of the Grand Leveler, Transcend the Rubicon, and the Dreams You Dread is untouchable. It is some of the most unique and inspired death metal of all times.
Oh, thanks very much. Who said that? I'll buy him a beer.
I think that's a Joel quote.
Is it?
I think I quoted. I think that's one of your quotes, buddy.
If it is, I'll take credit for it, because it's a lovely quote and I agree with it. I've written hundreds of thousands of things like that over the years, but yes, I will absolutely say Benediction during this period, especially for me, man, someone coming up in the scene and being exposed to all this metal from overseas. Damn, what a band during that period. I mean, what an influential band for me as a metal fan. In many ways, I thought Benediction was carrying the torch much brighter than some of the other Birmingham bands at the time, carrying that Sabbath edge moving forward. We got to mention too, David, you also did one of my favorite videos of all time in Benediction, Down on Whores, the Jack the Ripper inspired video, which people should look up because it's utterly classic. What stands out for you looking back doing that particular video? I mean, were you there when they were filming the sort of segments with the lady and the killer?
No, they
and
did.
all that?
No, they did that the next or later in the day after we finished. But the guy was there and was sort of wandering around and he was sort of chatting with us. And we just thought, because let me just, I sort of got to clear the floor here a little bit. When we got to the place where we were shooting it, the night before they'd had a rave. So we stumbled over bags of things on the floor. And we were young and stupid, so you can guess what happened. So just so that is. So we were in a silly mood. And this guy, we thought he looked like Stephen Fry, the actor, the comedian. So we were just sort of, and yeah, this guy was getting really upset with us about that. But he still did a great job in the video, and yeah. So
what's the name of the song, Joel? I'm trying to find download it.
Down on Whores. It's
Down
on the
Whores?
album The Dreams You Dread.
Yeah, there's some places put it out as "Leave Them All for Dead" because they don't like the word "whores."
Yeah, I got it.
A song title, like MTV used to do that. Well, they just closed down, so it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter at this point.
No.
And I know too. I haven't spoken to a lot over the years. Benediction also. I mean, you toured with great bands. One of which, because we just had Chris Reifert on a couple weeks back, and I know you became very tight with Chuck and Death on the road. And we always want to give props to people who have departed, who left an impact. And I know, if I recall correctly, I actually just recently saw a documentary on Death where they talked about Death and Benediction jamming on stage one night. Do you recall that? Yeah.
We were playing a gig. It was in Hamburg. We'd done our set and we were going to do an encore, and everyone from the Death crew with their, except Chuck, but their sound man sort of knew the lyrics to Zombie Ritual, so they went up and did Zombie Ritual with their sound man singing, and the crowd couldn't tell if he was Chuck or not. They didn't know. Sort of pre-internet really, so they only got photos from magazines. So and there was a lot of trouble not with us, with the other guys from Death afterwards, because Chuck didn't like the fact that they went on stage without him. Not that it was an ego thing. I mean, I totally get why he was a little cross about it. It wasn't his ego. He wasn't like that. There's rumors that Chuck was a really horrible guy. He was not. He was the sweetest bloke ever. He was really nice.
And, obviously touring in those days, particularly in the States, because I remember bands were coming through in the sticks where I was living at the time. There weren't the big festivals we're seeing now, particularly in Europe, and even out Maryland Death Fest we have out here, as you know, because we hung out years ago there. What are your thoughts on the growth of metal festivals over the years versus that more sort of ground roots? You're in a van, you're in a bus or whatever, and you're hitting the road. Do you see benefits and disadvantages to both approaches?
I see absolute benefits to festivals. You can play one gig and get to a lot of people. The disadvantage is you don't get out as much. But on a personal point of view, I mean, I've got sort of chronic arthritis and it's not getting any better. So doing a 5-week tour is just a no-go for me. There's no way I can do that. So maybe 2 festivals on weekends, every couple of weeks. And we're getting out to the same amount of people. Everybody's getting to see us. And we do club shows as well. But we're not going to do like last year. We did 2.5 weeks around Europe with Jungle Rot and Master, and I was not feeling good afterwards, to be quite honest. So yeah, that's sort of out of the question for me these days. If something really good comes up, I'll force myself through it. You know, I'll take a truckload of painkillers with me. But yeah, but for the time being, no, I can't. Physically, it's a difficult time.
Is it? Does your voice? How does your voice hold up in a situation like that when you've got these days getting a little bit older as an older person? I'm a singer. I know as I've gotten older, it's gotten more difficult.
Well, I took a few years off actually. So when would it have been? 2003. I stopped doing Bolt Thrower. I did a Danish band, Downlord, and I've done sort of little smaller projects over the years. And it really wasn't until I got back in Benediction that I was singing quite as much now. But by then I quit smoking. I'm quit smoking for 13 years now. Yeah, and that's been an improvement on my voice. I've noticed it. I think you can hear it on the albums as well. I seem to have gotten better with age. But when it's out on tour, you've just got to be careful. You just have to remember to hydrate. You have to, don't go mad. If you want to have a drink, just don't go mad. And the usual tea and honey and ginger and blah blah blah. It's all the same tropes, and it's all the same things to keep it up. But there's still pain. It still gets ripped raw by after the first 5 or 6 shows. You just have to maintain yourself and pace yourself.
Singing this type of music, whether what I do, what you do, whatever, it is such a physical thing. It's not, and I'm not knocking bass players, who are going, who are playing with two. But when you're singing this intense music, your whole body is like, blah. It's a lot, man. I mean, it's like, if anybody wants to, anybody wondering what it like after the show, go out and take a jog for 30 to 45 minutes while you're screaming your brains out. And that's pretty much what we go through when we do it. It's intense. It's a lot.
Yeah. That's exactly, that's a good description of it. Jogging for 30 minutes and screaming. Yeah. It is like that. And I mean, our bass player, Nick, is a great kid. And he's like one of the youngest guys in the band. I mean, out of the 3 old guys, I'm the youngest one. I'm 57 soon.
Right.
So we have to take us oldies, us crumblies into consideration. And drummer Gio is 41, 42 now.
He is fantastic. That guy is really something else.
He's a great drummer. He's a great guy.
He's got good feet, that kid. He's really good.
Yeah.
Great drummer, man. Really good. Yeah. Drummers,
drummers
carry it.
Yes. Yeah. There are times when he does carry it. I mean, Joel as a drummer will know all about that.
Oh yeah.
I saw doing my homework, David, that coming up, you were a Clash fan, and that reminds me of Topper Headon. Drummers make it, and Topper Headon really made the Clash great.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. It was the Clash was my first 7-inch single I bought. Tommy Gun.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Tommy Gun, right? I got to.
It was either that or the Smurfs, and I said I wanted the Clash. So.
I got asked to do. I got asked to be a part of this Clash benefit thing for Jamaican Relief. Bunch of different people doing Clash songs, and nice. The song I drew is Tommy Gun. I got Tommy Gun.
Brilliant.
So I've been doing my homework. This is a shot of you playing with Bolt Thrower. How did your first tenure in Benediction come to an end, and how did you end up in Bolt Thrower there?
Well, there was. I moved to Denmark, and I had to sort of wind down what I was doing musically, because I needed to get a life in Denmark, set the life on course here, like my social security number, and get everything sorted, bank accounts and all that, the usual crap, and get a job, as well as learn the language as well, because that helps you get a job. I needed some time off, and I just said it wasn't fair to Benediction. It just wasn't going to be fair to them. So I said, carry on without me. I'm cool. And then it was a few weeks later, I did the last shows, and then about 3 weeks later, Bolt Thrower called me up and said, do you want to do this with us? We only do certain times of the year. We'll work around you. And it was advantageous for both parties. So that's where that came from. And I was in the band for just under 6 years.
Yeah. And Joel, we talked about this. Maybe you could give our audience a bit of a take on sort of the Bolt Thrower family and sort of their organization.
Well, I know if you look at the Bolt Thrower discography, there are various military themes throughout a lot of that material. So they had that certain aesthetic and philosophy. And I mean, there are a couple of points about Bolt Thrower I definitely want to hit on, but one being to that point, David, when it came down to the promotional tour for the album you sang on with Bolt Thrower, which is Honor, Valor, Pride, there was a certain event that you held with journalists that I always thought was fantastic. So can you share that story and how you kind of put these guys through their paces?
Yeah, what we did was we got friends who owned an ex-army base, and they were setting it up as like a theme park, like an experience thing for team bonding, the work bonding experiences that people go on. They were doing that in a sort of a military way, and they hadn't quite opened yet. So we asked if we could borrow the site and them. Because we were hosting this Bolt Thrower release listening party and for interviews and stuff, and they said yes. So all of the journalists flew in to a particular airport and were picked up in a van, and the van was driven, and then it got stopped by a military vehicle, and they said, "You're on the wrong land. This is private property. You're trespassing. Get out of this van and into the truck." And they were taken to this military base at gunpoint. I mean, they're all holding blanks, and the one guy's about to ask a question, and the guy holding the machine gun just went, and they shut up straight away, and they were absolutely terrified. And then they walk into this room, and there's the Bolt Thrower logo on the wall, and all of them just went, "Oh!" And they knew they'd been hacked. And then we sort of, before they could listen to the album, we wanted to rate them, so that we put them through their paces. They had to do like shooting shotguns and throwing grenades.
Where did you pull this off? Where was this?
It was like a military base in the south of England, not that far from Brighton.
Wow!
Because at the same time, we took the album to be mastered at this studio. This guy was, and we were there, so it wasn't that far from Brighton. And the guy who was mastering it, he was trying to get this CD out of a box, and he snapped it. And he went, damn, I owe Britney Spears £10,000. It was a Britney Spears single he was just about to master, and he snapped the CD. So he owed Britney Spears for that.
Wow.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah. So we had this base, and once we'd done all the tasks, once they got through everything, we let them back in so they could listen to the album and do interviews and stuff. It was a lot of fun that day.
Any memories? First off, I think this is a fantastic album. I listened to it this morning as I was doing the dishes, and once again, I've come back to it a couple times this week in doing my homework. This is a great sounding record. I love how this record sounds. I love your vocals. It's a great record. Any memories of recording this project?
Well, as I said, it was the same year as 9/11, so that was on our minds a lot when we were recording this. Because I was actually, I don't know if you know the band Carnivore. Well, you must.
Oh, yes, of course.
Carnivore. Yeah. They had that album Retaliation. There was a song
Yeah.
on there, Ground Zero Brooklyn. And the
Yes, of
line
course.
is, home. The first line is, home watching Star Trek, everything's okay. And I was actually at my mom's house in England, which is home, watching Star Trek, and suddenly 9/11 happens. My mom sort of walks in and says, turn over. And, you know, I was like, oh, but it's the Tribbles. And no, turn over and put the news on. So, yeah. So, yeah, that was a big thing with that album that always stuck in my mind, that what was going on at the time.
Yeah.
Because that was a massive world event. But on the more positive side, there was the fact that it was a new experience for me, and with the most wonderful people. They were so supportive, and they wouldn't just try and make me do better. They would demand that I did better, and I was grateful for that.
Yeah.
You know, that was it was an enjoyment. It was hard work, but it was an enjoyment.
Why have I only heard good things about the people in Bolt Thrower? I've only ever heard good things about them as people. Never anything but. They're just good people.
Yeah, they all are. They all are. I mean, I think most of them were still are as well. Vegetarian. Baz for certain, the guitarist, and they were, I think, the most anti-fascist band in the extreme music genre. So yeah, they're good people.
Yeah. Why was your tenure in Bolt Thrower? I mean, I know you were in a couple of years. It wasn't. I was in a year. We did a record. I did a tour, and I left. I think what people might not understand is that you were in the band for a bunch of years. You did that one record. I mean, it wasn't just a stop on the motorway. You were with them for quite some time.
Yeah, it was just under 6 years. I joined just after they'd released the album Mercenary, and we toured for that. And then we wrote On a Valor Pride, and we toured for that. And it was not long after. It was 2003 when I left Bolt Thrower. I got ill. I had a breakdown, and it just wasn't fair to them to wait for me to get better. Because they were ready to write, ready to start recording and writing new material, and gigs had been offered, and I did not know how long it was going to take me to get better. So I took the bullet.
Yeah, you gracefully excused yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They gave me a medical discharge. That was the first thing on the website. Yeah.
Joel, you have anything on David's time in Bolt Thrower and the band? I know we talked about some stuff.
Well, I mean, Bolt Thrower was, again, one of those bands when I was hitting the ground running, learning about extreme metal as a kid. You know, that was a group certainly on the list. And I remember very distinctly, this had to have been late 80s, maybe 1990. I was reading a copy of, I believe, Metal Maniacs, Catherine Ludwig's old magazine. And I'm going through, and it's page after page of grimacing men, right? Metal. And I open it up, and it's a full color article, bright color article, with a full color photo of Bolt Thrower. And my first thought was, that's a girl. You know, so we've got to give props and respect to Joe Bench from Bolt Thrower.
I thought you were going to say Carl Willits then. I hope he's watching.
Well, if he is, Carl, shout out to you, my friend. Thank you for many years ago writing something for me regarding Technical Ecstasy, Black Sabbath, on my website. So thank you, Carl. You know, but Joe was one of the first, if not the first, really established death metal players who was a woman. You know, and I think that's very much worth mentioning, and her participation in the whole scene as it was coming up, you know, because, you know, after I saw that article with Joe, I started going to shows, and like I go see Obituary, and there'd be more and more women in the audience, you know, but she was literally the first heavy metal, death metal performer I ever saw in print. So full marks to Joe.
Absolutely, yeah. She's. I'm still in touch with Joe. We talk, you know, now and again, close friends, birthdays, Christmas, things like that. And also when Benediction play around Europe, I always send a message to say, look, we're playing close to where you're at. So if you can make it, come along. So, and she's been to a few shows, and her fella Graham Turtle. So yeah, we hang out. So you know, we could see her again sometime this year. I hope so.
Yeah,
Very cool.
Hey, let me do a sponsor break, and let's take care of some of this stuff, and let's come back and we'll continue on our quest, and we'll get into all kinds of stuff, including Doctor Who and Lambert's Basement, so on and so forth. So we'll see in a couple minutes, David.
All right, mate. No problem.
All right. Very good. So far, so good.
Totally.
Fantastic guest.
Yeah.
Really great guy. Let's let me do the cha-cha-cha here, and I'll see you back in a couple of minutes.
All right, you got it.
All right. Thanks for hanging in, everybody. This is the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live, episode number 410. David Ingram, Benediction bolt thrower. We're going deep. Have some fun. We got another hour or so left. Let's do a little sponsor stuff. See you in a minute. Since 1992, Generation Records has been a mainstay of the New York metropolitan area music scene. Today, they offer a diverse selection of new and used rock, jazz, indie, hip-hop, punk, hardcore, metal, blues, soundtrack, and reggae LPs, as well as t-shirts, posters, and other merchandise. They buy used record collections and music memorabilia and will pay you top dollar for them. House calls made for large collections in the tri-state area. Call or email generationrecords@gmail.com and follow them on Facebook and Instagram.
Will that be cash or in debt?
Do you mean debit?
Yes. Sorry. Another eternally satisfied customer.
Yo, what's happening? I'm out here at one of our all-ages Sunday matinees on the Bowery. I hope that you are enjoying today's show. I just want to let you know that the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live needs your support. Please step up. There is a Patreon page that has a lot of unique program. Shows are announced there first. Lots of good stuff. There's a PayPal address right there on the screen if you want to make a contribution. There's also a super chat function. You could do that, but the bottom line is this show exists because of your support. We're going to be doing it for a long, long time. Thank you for all your support through the years. Back to the show.
Conditioned by indoctrination, conditioned by society. You're a victim of the digital age, a 21st century casualty. Open your eyes, you're losing control. Open your eyes, put down the phone. Conditioned by misinformation, it's just the media telling us lies. Decipher fiction from the truth, society's slow and tragic demise. Open your eyes, you're losing control. Open your eyes, put down the phone. Everyone's got their fucking...
And we're back. The New York Hardcore Chronicles Live. Want to thank a couple of new patrons, Gabriel McPaulin, Jan Ferris, and Cindy Halfrats, formerly of the Lunatics. Please, if you're wondering how you can support the show always needs your support. There is the QR code. Give it a scan, join Patreon, a couple bucks a month, support the show. The reason this show is still happening 5 years later is because you support it. Truth be told. There it is. Patreon. There's a PayPal address if you want to, and you can make a contribution. But we ain't going anywhere. So that said, a couple of upcoming shows. Next up, Sunday, January 11th, 1 week from today, Jennifer Finch from L7 The Shocker. She's a photographer, co-hosted by Lori Dawn. And then Joel will be right back. Sunday, January 18th, John Gallagher of Raven will be on. Wednesday, January 21st, some home cooking here in New York. Big Rob Castoria will be on. Wednesday, February 4th, DC, some DC punk and hardcore. Howard Wolfing will be on talking about the compilation of his fanzines that have been released in book form. Sunday, February 8th, Pepper Keenan, Corrosion of Conformity of Down. Steve Berlin from Los Lobos. I'm looking forward to this one. Also produced the first Faith No More record. Wednesday, February 18th. Chris Wren, Bridge 9 Records, has a new book out, Fenway Punk, excuse me. That's Sunday, February 22nd. Wayne from Hatebreed, guitar player, Sunday, March 1st. Steve Blush has a new book out, When Rock Met Hip Hop. Should be very interesting. Sunday, March 8th. Bill Stevenson from The Descendants, All Black Flag and Flag. Sunday, March 22nd. And we just announced this the other day. Coming back on the show is Joe Keithley of DOA. Scott Crawford, the director, and our old friend Paul Rackman. They have a film out called Something Better Change. Joe's life in politics and in music. So lots of stuff going on. We're still running at it. We're running at it hard. There's the QR code. Also, if you can, please, on the bottom there, pick up your communication device. Please follow the show on Instagram. And if you're watching in rerun, please subscribe to the Stone Films NYC YouTube channel. All this stuff is very important. Also, reach over, you lazy mother. Reach over, give the show a thumbs up, give it a heart. Do it now. That said, yes, give it a thumbs up, please. These things go a long way, believe it or not. That said, let's clear the deck. Let's bring our co-host back on. From the wasteland of New Hampshire.
Yes, the comparatively affordable wasteland compared to New York of New Hampshire, which is why I'm here.
Hey, you're coming back on show after next. We're hopefully, John Gallagher, we had to reschedule. He had some health issues, so
yeah,
looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the Howard show too. Howard Wolfing, that's going to be cool.
It figures that guy's on your radar screen, huh?
Oh yeah. There's stuff happening, but we'll maybe get into that towards the end of the show, or maybe next time I'm on. But yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
That said, let us bring our guest back on. Dave Ingram from Benediction. Hey, man.
Howdy again.
Let me put everybody in their proper spot.
There you go.
This one caught my eye. Bolt Thrower was supposed to headline a death fest at Wetlands, of all places, here in New York, but had problems getting to the country. Benediction headlined instead. It was still amazing. Interesting.
Yeah, I think I remember that. That wasn't it called Bloodstock or something?
Could have been. Wetlands.
It
Wetlands
was 94.
Yeah. Wetlands was a place here in New York that kind of started as sort of a hippy-dippy jam culture type of club, Grateful Dead vibe-ish place. And eventually they started looking to fill the room. Hardcore shows, punk shows, what have you, all kinds of shows,
Yeah, I loved the Wetlands. That was one of my favorite venues when it was up and going. Loved it. Loved playing there too.
Yeah, we played there a couple of times. So in moving along with the timeline, you leave Bolt Thrower and get into a couple of other musical projects. Oh, that reminds me. Have you seen your hardcore legend trading card?
Mine?
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't know I had one.
Well, there you go, bro.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to get the glasses on for this.
Yeah.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah. That's the front, and the back is incredibly informative. It was thank you, Josh, The back is incredibly informative. There it is. Yep.
Good grief.
Yeah.
Wow, there's some bands on there I've forgotten I'd worked with.
Yeah, there's a lot going on there.
There's even a band that you and I did together for one song listed.
Yeah.
What's that? What's that, Joel?
Affection Hate.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was my wife at the time, Shannon, Dave and myself, and buddy Sonny, guitar player. That was a long time ago. Wow.
Yeah.
A long time ago.
Good stuff. Yeah.
Damn.
When you left Bolt Thrower, it's sort of a lot of other, a couple other projects started happening. Eventually, you made your way back to Benediction. How and why did that happen?
Oh, well, there was, after Bolt Thrower, that was 2003, and it was 2019 when they asked me. There was some other musical projects in the meantime, and a couple of music podcasts as well.
Yeah.
But how I got back into it, they contacted me and asked if I would do some select shows with them. Their singer at the time, Dave Hunt, was doing his PhD, and he wanted some time away from the band to focus on his studies. And they asked me, will I do these 6 or 7 shows? And I was like, yeah, cool, that'd be great. You know, something to give back to the fans. It'd be awesome. And then Dave Hunt said, well, I think I need to focus on my career with my PhD. He got a band he was also doing called Anal Nathrak. And that was his band that he sort of started and brought up. So it was sort of his baby, you know?
Yeah.
So he didn't want to quit that yet. So he's got some a bit of extra stuff to do with those. But he said he wasn't going to come back to Benediction. So they asked me to join full time. And I totally understand why Dave left. And, you know, and he did a great job while he was in the band. He did those a couple of albums that he sang on.
Yeah.
There's some awesome lyrics on there, and his vocal sounds excellent.
And since you've rejoined, you did Scriptures, and the last, I could say last year, this banger, Ravage of Empires.
Yeah, that was out in April last year.
Yeah, this record, this is great. It sounds great. Any thoughts on getting back in there in 2025 and on this latest release?
Well, we were back in at the same studio we did Scriptures with Scott. I've forgotten his last name. Damn it. It's going to haunt me all night now. Anyway, but Scott, if you look on the back of the album, his name's there. But yeah, he produced it, and he really cracked the whip both times, and even more so the second time round. Like, I was recording every single line maybe 4 or 5 times.
Oof.
Yeah. So just recording one song was like playing an entire gig. It was like 2 or 3 hours. So yeah, and I got a week to do the vocals in 11 songs, and I managed to do, I think, 9 in that week. By the last day, I just couldn't speak at all. Oof. So I had to come back home and then fly in. It was in England, south of England again. And
Scott Atkins.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, Scott Atkins. Yeah. But he really did crack the whip, and as much as I was like getting angry at the guy sometimes, I held it in because I knew it was his job. We were paying him to do that.
That's right.
At the end of the day, we'd appreciate that he did that, and yeah, we did. So yeah, there were a few times he kept saying to me, "Try and make it sound more like the Grind Bastard album." It's like, well, it's not. This is a totally different album, so I don't want my vocals to sound quite like that. I want them to sound like they're supposed to, how I want. So we sort of locked horns at things at that, but it worked out well in the end. I think he understood where I was coming from, and I totally got where he was at. So.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's part of it, right? It's you're paying me to produce the record. You're paying me you're bringing me in based on my work. Let me, right? It's like my dad used to say. My dad was a film director. You hired me to direct. Let me direct. You know,
exactly.
Let me fucking direct the thing. So it's you brought him in as a producer. You gotta kind of let him do his thing and hope for the best, right?
Yeah. And I gave him a few ideas of things what to use here and there, and he used them. He did do it. So and it was a good process. For me, it was just me and Nick for that week. Nick was doing his bass parts, and like I'd sort of do my vocal part for as long as I could that day. Then Nick would jump in, so I could just sit and drink tea and rest. So
you've been in the studio
really well.
You've been in the studio many times. Does that sort of format work best for you at this point?
Well, yes and no, because I've done both. I mean, the majority of the releases, all the Benediction and the Bolt Thrower release, were in a studio. Every one of the others, Down Among the Dead Men, Stygian Dark, Ursina, Echelon, all those were done at home. I recorded them at home myself on my, my Atari 800 XL laptop or whatever it is. It was all done on the cheap. There was no budget at all.
Sure.
And then we just sort of hand it over to a producer and say, "Could you make something of that?" And they do their magic, and it comes out.
It's a crazy world.
Yeah, I mean the one guy I work with, Roger Johansson, I've done about 9-10 albums with him with various bands. Worked with him since 2012. I've never met the guy. It's all been done on the internet. Yeah, it's all been done on the internet. I've never. He hardly ever leaves his hometown. So you do the recording. You personally do the recording kind of at home on your laptop and then send it to him. Yeah. He sends the music and with a click track and whatever, and then I'll just write the lyrics to the song, record them.
I see.
And then send him the vocal tracks, and he sort of bundles it all together and sends it to a producer.
I see.
Either it's one of our friends who produces, or it's actually a proper studio that he knows someone who owes him a favor.
Got it. The miracle of one of the miracles of modern technology.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is something else. I mean, we all came from an era where there was no internet, there was nothing. Sure. So everything we did was pen to paper. And a struggle, and I think nowadays some people they don't appreciate how hard it was and how easy they've got it. And I know I sound like a grumpy old man, but I mean that's my other podcast. Hi Pete, by the way. That's my other podcast. Grumpy, old men howling at the moon. We do that, and we just complain about how things are different now because we're old.
Yep. Keyboard Warrior Assassin 2709 says Raga is a legend and has written a ton of releases. Never leaves his house, though. The unknown legend.
Yeah. He just has the odd photo of him online.
That's interesting.
He's a mystery wrapped in a riddle covered in Swedish cheese. And, but yeah, he's a great bloke. No one's ever met him. I don't even think his wife's met him.
Yeah. You know what's happened? You just reminded me of the recording process. Back in the day, being the singer was rough because everybody would do their stuff and the singer would be the last one, and it would be, okay, you got to sing now and go, and you get one shot at it or whatever, and it was tough. I like modern technology now where I could go in, punch stuff in, fix things, and be happy with it, and not just sort of. Because back then, studio time was fairly expensive. Getting into a recording studio was you get into a recording studio and it would always go over. And just as when I was in Antidote or even when I was in the High and the Mighty, it was always the last thing to do is the vocals. In the wee hours, and I was totally frazzled. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, the vocals were always pretty much last when I was doing the earlier Benediction stuff. This time around, there was a few guitars that were missing, but there was one time, I can't remember which release it was. I think it might have been the Darkest the Season EP that we did, where I actually put my vocals down on top of drums and one guitar, and that was it. Because for some reason, the other guitarist couldn't make it, and the bass player wasn't, or we didn't have a bass player, actually. Our guitarist played the bass on that release, but so I just did it on that for that one, just a guitar and drums, which was kind of weird, but it came out all right.
Yeah, tape costs. You had to buy the spool of tape. Yeah, it was like And it was like when we were doing in the days when we were doing the music videos, it's, can we shoot one more roll of film? Well, film, it's buying the roll of film, it's developing the roll of film, it's transferring the roll of film. It's not just that. It's not that easy, Yeah. And speaking, actually, I just wanted to shout out. You mentioned Carnivore, and I have my typo negative gold record that I did when I produced Black Number One. Today's Pete Steele's birthday, so
wow!
Happy birthday, Pete Steele!
Happy birthday, Pete!
Got my old typo negative gold record back there. So
yeah,
that was
Pete was a lot of fun. He was a lot of fun.
He was a very unique, interesting character for sure.
He got me blotto drunk one evening when I was 18, 17.
Wow.
That's a whole other story.
Yeah.
But great guy.
I did just see something that looks like they're releasing a typo negative live recording.
I heard that too.
Officially releasing it, which that camp is doesn't release much, do much. They're very protective of the legacy, and I think they have like an official live release coming out. That should be interesting.
Great, can't wait.
Yeah. Joel, do you have anything for David regarding some of his other bands or other projects that you've been a fan of?
Man, there are so many. One that I really loved, just because I think the sound was just perfectly brutal. And it was around the time you and I first met. You were doing a project called Doom Charge, which I loved. And I know there were a couple of songs. Ultimately, how much recorded output did that project generate? Because I know there were a few tracks that were kind of put out here and there.
Yeah, the tracks that were put out, but there were, I don't know, it was about 5 or 6, and I think we held them back because we weren't totally satisfied with the production, not the actual songs. We weren't, because it was the early days of home studio recording for us, and really because we didn't have a drummer, so it was the early days of drum machines,
right? And
they sounded like drum machines. I think the only band that could get away with it at that time was Godflesh. They had that sound. And we just couldn't. So when we eventually did try, I think was that Pro Tools drum program that they put out. I can't remember what it was called, but it was like a real drummer who played all the MIDI things, and you could sort of mark it all out. That when that kicked in, that's when drum machines really sounded like you could hardly tell the difference.
Yeah.
And you could even buy programs to dehumanize the computer drums, so there's slightly off a beat here and there, so it's human.
Yeah.
That sort of thing, which is kind of a weird thing to think of, that you writing a program to make things worse. But right. Yeah, but so we had those, and I think one of the songs actually I'd written a long time ago, many years ago, in fact, and I used it on the first Down Among the Dead Men album. Because it was so old, I thought, it's got to hear the light of day. I think it was on that first Eye Gouger demo, a version.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Wow! And
was it on here?
Yeah, it's Leech's Gorge, I think the song's called.
We should mention Eye Gouger because in the 80s, if I understand correctly, you were in Chicago for a bit. Yeah. And you had a band out there called Eye Gouger, right? This would have been like late 80s, right?
Yeah, the late 80s, early 90s. And the band had been going. They just needed a bass player. And luckily I was there at the time. So I can't really say I just worked with the guys. They were friends.
Yeah.
And we've lost touch over the years for various reasons, which I won't go into. But still, yeah. But some of the other guys from Chicago, I'm still friends with. Glenn from Impulse Manslaughter, I'm still friends with Glenn, and also the singer Carl. So I'm friends with him too. So yeah. I mean, I love Chicago.
How'd you end up going out there?
We were there last year.
Yeah, I love Chicago too, as you know. How did you end up getting out to Chicago in the first place from Birmingham?
Well, it was Glenn. I used to love writing to bands. when bands were putting the address on the album covers, and Glenn's address was on there. So I wrote, and we corresponded for about a year. And then I said, "Hey, how would you feel if I came over and visited?" And he's like, "Sure." So went over for a few weeks, and then came back, and then went over for even longer. Yeah, and I was going to move to America, but then Benediction happened. So,
and eventually you ended up in Copenhagen.
Yeah. 95. I met someone and moved here in 98. That ended in divorce about a year ago, and I've since gotten married, and my wife is now asleep. I'm hoping I'm not keeping her awake with my voice. So it's all going good, and I love Copenhagen.
Do you?
Great. Yeah, it's a great city. It's a great country to live in. It really is.
Fantastic. Could you give us, this is one of the projects that I really like. Could you give us some perspective on Down Among the Dead Men?
Yeah, every song is about Doctor Who. In fact, every song except that one, Leech's Gorge, on the first album. Every song is it's to do with Doctor one way or another. I mean, if you look at that cover there, if you see right at the very bottom there, it's the bottom skirt of a Dalek.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, every song was about Doctor Who, and whether it's audiobooks or titles from the TV series, from the classic or the new version. Yeah, I mean, because I'm a huge fan. I'm absolutely a huge fan.
You are a huge fan of Doctor Who. And
I mean, I've got it all over the arms everywhere. So yeah.
In doing my research, I tried to wrap my head around it. I know the show. I've seen it a couple times, but as a sort of an American, I kind of came up on Star Trek. So I'm sort of thinking, is it fair to say that like America had Star Trek, the UK had Doctor Who? Is that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, it was a very, very British show. I mean, the thing that he travels around in that blue box, the TARDIS. It's a police box, and we used to have those in the 50s and 60s on the street corners. It was before the police had radios, and they could just have a telephone in there, and they could phone up the station. And if the things weren't made of wood, they were made of stone. They were made of concrete, so they could actually use them as small prison cells to hold someone while they send the paddy wagon around.
Is that right?
Yeah, it was before radios, before mobile phones or anything like that. So they had a phone line in those boxes. That's what they were for.
That makes sense. John in London says the 70s and 80s Doctor Who was killer. I was interested that when I found out that I always thought Doctor Who was this one actor that I saw play the Doctor in the episodes that I watched. I guess in this era, I was sort of blown away to find there have been so many actors that had played. Have they played that character, or is it they've specifically played that? It's like playing James T. Kirk in Star Trek.
Or James Bond.
Yeah, or James Bond, right?
Yeah. Because obviously he's an alien, so they can get away with so much.
I see.
In that, and when he dies or is at a near-death point, he regenerates, and it's just a way of changing the actor and keeping the show fresh. That's what they had to do the very first time. The guy who was playing the Doctor, William Hartnell, was old. He had some problems, serious health problems, and he couldn't remember his lines. So
it was time to regenerate.
It was time to replace him, and they ended up calling it that, and it worked really well. So the show kept going.
John says Tom Baker, though, hands down.
Everyone loves Tom Baker.
Is he the one? Is he the one that I would remember? Let me look him up.
I was going to say
curls and the big scarf.
This is this may come to blows, but would you agree Tom Baker was the best?
Oh yeah, this guy, 100%. This is the guy I know. Yeah. Oh, he did it for almost 10 years.
He was my Doctor Who. When I was a kid, he was my Doctor Who because my dad turned me on to him because he's British. So he got me into Doctor Who when I was a little kid, and Tom Baker is the guy. That's just my opinion. Would
All
Dave,
our-
Yeah.
is he your favorite, Dave?
With the classic Who, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But there's just so much. People always ask me, so who's your favorite Doctor? And it's like, well, the Doctor, it's the same. He's played by different people. Tom Baker, his incarnation was great.
Oh, we got someone weighing in for John Pertwee.
Yeah, that was the one prior to Tom Baker. He was good as well. John Pertwee was my first Doctor. He was the first one I saw. But out of the newer ones, the new series of Doctor Who, I'd say Peter Capaldi. You got a lot of gravitas, or Mavitas if you watch the show. Gravitas, and he's got that grumpiness that the Doctor had from the classic series. So I love that.
Yeah, really interesting. I doing kind of a deep dive into it. Wow, I mean, it is really kind of like the Star Trek of the UK, and has a really passionate fan base.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
safe
to say. Do you still do Lambert's Basement?
No, I was going to do it just once a year, and maybe once a year with my other show, Metal Breakfast Radio, on Halloween. But I just haven't had the time with Benediction, and I don't want to do the show's disservice by throwing something out that's sort of half cocked. So I'd rather wait until such time that Benediction may not last forever.
Sure,
we want it to. We really do want it to. But when I've got more time, I'll do the shows again, and I can focus more on some of these other little projects that I do as well.
Yeah, and Lambert's Basement is a big band jazz and swing show, correct?
Yeah.
Explain how it came about, your involvement, your love for big band and swing. Yeah,
it was my stepdad. He loved listening to that. He was he volunteered World War II and went over. He was the only guy. There was two guys in England, him and another, who could fix the radios that the British Army used during World War II. They're the only two guys in the whole of England who knew how to repair them. So they said, right, you're worth gold to us, you come over. And so he went to India, and he spent the entire war fixing radios and drinking gin and tonic and screwing the locals and listening to big band jazz on the radio. He had a good war, but he was his big band, love of big band jazz, and he got it for me as well. And it's just something so mellow about it. Put on some. It's so typical, but Glenn Miller. You put Glenn Miller on, and I'd sort of melt into a chair.
That's awesome.
I love that. Yeah.
Do you listen to big band jazz and swing when you're driving?
Well, I don't drive.
Okay.
Because of wonders of technology, I can pretty much have my entire record collection on one iPod. Wow. That's pretty awesome. 180 gigabytes, and I can get most of my record collection on there, and have space for audiobooks. I have like playlists. One which is just big band jazz, one that's desert rock, one that's all Queens of the Stone Age, one that's all Black Sabbath, one that's Celtic Frost. It's sort of a mixture, whatever feels. And I've also got one for disco. I love disco music as well.
Yeah, and Laurent says, okay, we need to hear what music Dave listens to that will surprise us. And that's kind of what I'm getting at with here. Is there any sort of, I hate to say guilty pleasure, but is there any other music stuff that we might be like, oh, wow?
There was a lot of stuff in the 70s that was one-hit wonders. If you go, there were sort of niche songs. There were fun songs. They were funny.
Sure.
There was, I think the band were called Toast, and they had this one song just called Toast. And I believe one of the guy who sang on it actually went on to become some famous pop star, Paul something.
I gotta look this up. Toast?
Yeah. I think they were called Toast, but the song was at least. But stuff like that. It was just weird one-off stuff that the band will never be heard of again. They might have two hits, two singles. They were on top of the pops. I heard it, bought the single, and just loved it. Like, what was that one? I Lost My Heart to a Starship Trooper by Sarah Brightman.
Huh.
Mm.
I don't know if you ever remember that. That was a great single. It's a disco song, references to Star Wars and Star Trek and stuff like that during it. But
there's a bread tribute band called Toast.
Okay, it wasn't there.
That makes sense, doesn't it?
Well, yeah.
That's great.
Paul
Young. Everyone's like Paul Young.
That was it.
Paul
yeah,
Young. Paul Young.
Thanks, folks.
Is it Paul Young?
Yeah.
Paul Young.
I know there's one guilty pleasure you and I share, David.
Yeah,
D-Light, Groove is in the Heart.
Oh, yeah.
Classic song.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got their album, the full album up there.
Tormented by that stuff living in New York at the time. Oh, couldn't get away from it. Brutal. Yeah. Joel, before we take a quick break and come back and start some questions from around the world, anything else, Joel, that we want to get into before we sort of open the floor?
I guess we could talk about our radio venture together many years ago. I think Drew's got the picture somewhere.
Yeah, I got
that. Back in the day, this had to have been 15 years ago. Yeah, 15 years ago. Wow. You had Metal Breakfast Radio, and I had an audio version of my early podcast as well. And we did this.
Yeah.
And I was.
So that is just to clarify, that is Joel there in the striper top, and that is me with short hair. Because back in 2010, I cut all my hair off and sort of had it spiky at the front. I just I fancied a change. Obviously, I've grown it back again now, but that was me back then. So.
And we were kind of breaking each other's chops a little bit because Striper at that point, and I love Striper, they put out a covers album called The Covering, perhaps not the most creative title. And on my radio show, I praised the album and played all the tracks and talked about it. And then on your show, you tore the album apart. And you and I were like breaking each other's chops, making comments to each other like it was a war. And it actually became a thing where bravewords.com was doing like a daily update because the winner got the most downloads and the most listens. So they were doing like a tally. I don't know if you recall that. And Blabbermouth got involved in it as well. And I am proud to say on behalf of Michael Sweet, good did triumph over evil in that competition. But that was great fun. So we were preparing this episode. I had to pull up that graphic because that was a great time. It was a lot of fun doing that with you.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was.
And that was Shannon who did the artwork too. Got to make sure she gets a plug for that.
Right on. Hey, let me take a quick sponsor break. Let me do a couple shouts out. We'll come back and we'll take some questions from around the world. Okay, David?
All right, no problem.
See you in a minute. All right, Joel, let me do some sponsor stuff. We'll be right back.
You got it.
That's what's up. It's the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live, and we are sponsored by blah, 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 and 126 Hardcore Clothing. They're a streetwear brand for restless individuals who don't compromise. They're about being positive, spontaneous, and true to yourself. For years, they experimented with several printing methods and materials and collaborated with a large number of designers and illustrators, always giving room for fresh perspectives while retaining the hardcore attitude. Get in touch with them and ramp up your game at www.126clothing.com. Come on now. Joe Romini, who actually made this nice piece that you've seen me wearing. The Texas Silver Rush is a jewelry design firm and boutique store located in the birthplace of the Texas country music scene in Fredericksburg, Texas. They specialize in working with musicians in all music genres, design and create unique one-off pieces, as well as to style them for stage, album covers, promo photos, and social media exposure. The client list includes Rock and Roll Hall of Famers Greg Rolle, Ringo Starr, and of course, Agnostic Front. Information and online sales are being taken at their Facebook, Instagram pages, and of course, www.texassilverrush.com. Last but not least, She Devil's Coven is a female-owned entrepreneur business based out of Connecticut. Owner Rachel King Keys handcrafts soy wax candles set with intentions for your sanctuaries. She's accomplished her life goal dream since beauty school, debuting her artist showcase, Hotties and Hellions, that features live bands, burlesque, sideshow acts, vendors, food trucks, and this year a live auction with all proceeds going to the mental health program Punk Rock Saves Lives. Catch her in the tri-state area doing her thing, slinging candles at events, and keep an eye out for her show coming to New York in spring of 2026. You can find her on Etsy and on Instagram. There you go. That said, want to mention some upcoming events that are coming down the pike. Like I mentioned, I'm doing a song at this Clash benefit at the Bowery Electric, along with a couple of others, including friends Paul Bearer from Sheer Terror, Eugene from Go-Go Bordello, Kate from the Pogues, who used to play with us in the Drew Stone Hit Squad, so on and so forth. Minty Fresh presents. That's right, our sponsor, Minty Fresh, their next show coming up on Saturday, January 24th at Locals in Manalapan, New Jersey. Sheer Terror, The Take, Nailed to the Cross, Incendiary Device, Pool Scum and Tear Gas, and Concrete Burial. Tickets are on sale now. Make it happen. This is going to be a banger. Coming up, our next free all ages Sunday matinee down on the Bowery. This is our last show at the Bowery Electric before we move back to the birthplace of New York hardcore, A7. Sunday, January 25th, Sworn Enemy, Brass Knuckle Brigade, Nailed to the Cross, Deadshot, and Fracture. So come on down. One last hoorang. By the way, ID's playing up at Albany at Empire Underground with Tree on Saturday, January 31st. And the next day, we're going to be in Kingston, New York. Yes, this is our upstate New York tour. Upstate New York weekend. We'll be at Snapper McGee's in Kingston, New York on February 1st. Stephen Messina, Serial Poets playing Saturday, February 7th down at Kate's. And then this is the first show back at the A7, now known as Niagara. Incendiary Device, Silence Equals Death, Sad Plant, Dying Breed, Reconstruction, Sunday, February 15th. We've announced a couple of these shows. March 15th is Non-Residents at A7. Sunday, April 12th is Rebelmatic, Fulano, and Tree at A7. And we just announced this. We're doing a couple of shows in Tompkins Square Park this summer. This is the middle show. Sunday, August 23rd, we are revving up the My War Machine. Once again, different songs, different singers. Butterbrain's on the bill, along with World of Chaos and Sonic Brahm. It is a Women of the Pit school supplies drive, Sunday, August 23rd. So, lots going on. Questions for our guest, please. Any questions you may have for David Ingram of Benediction, formerly of Bolthor, please post now. Go deep, get weird. Even if you have a question for Joel, post up. Let's go. I think I've covered everything else. Let's bring Joel back on. Ready for some questions?
Yeah. I'm always ready.
Let's bring our willing victim on, David Ingram. Hey, are you, I see, just before we kind of go, I see that you guys have a couple things coming up. You're getting out there and playing some shows. I know I saw this come up. I think this is this Germany? What is this one? I think that's Germany.
That's Germany.
Yeah,
that'll be Germany. It's just been announced, I think, today. I think it was put up on the page. But we got some shows end of March, and also beginning of April. Those are the next ones coming up. I think what we're going to do is there's one show in Germany in the end of March. We're going to go. I'll fly to England. I think I'm going to take my wife Heidi with me as well. Show her Birmingham. We're going to go to Birmingham and do some rehearsing. So take Heidi around and show where all the Peaky Blinders are and whatever.
There you go.
So we'll let her have a look at the old hometown. And then fly to Germany and play a gig. I
saw that you guys a couple months ago did a little run in South America. How did that go?
Yeah.
Oh no! Excuse me. This is next year. This is next year.
We did do South America. Yeah, it was the year before. But we have done it. It went really well. It went really, really well. There was a couple of places we played where the altitude got to me.
Oh yeah,
it got to all of us, but it really affected me just for breathing.
But
they gave us oxygen at the side of the stage.
Stay out of Denver, I just get a sense that Benediction is a beloved band in South America.
Yeah, we had discussions actually with the old Bolt Thrower tour manager about this. This is the guy Turtle I mentioned before.
Mm-hmm.
We were chatting with him, and he was saying like he thinks that maybe the death metal is really liked in South America because of all the hot sauce and the spices. They've just got that, you know, they just need to get it out. And that's a very good segue actually, because Benediction have coming out very soon our own hot sauce.
I saw that.
I'll just quickly say pre-order it at satanichotsauce.com. So that's where you can pre-order it. Just Google them, you'll find it, and we're on there somewhere. So, but it's up for pre-order now. So.
Hey, let's just, while we're on the subject, let's jump into this a little bit. Hardcore Trading Cards asks, David is a priest in the Church of Satan. How did that come about? And excuse my ignorance, I know he's not affiliated with the Satanic Temple, but I don't know what separates the two groups.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Well,
I hope I'm not putting your foot in the bear trap.
No.
Yeah.
No. Usually I don't talk about my part of being in the Church of Satan that much, because people tend to write to me and say, "Oh, you're only doing that because it's the shock value," and it's like, "Oh, fuck off," you know. But there is a big difference. The Church of Satan is Satanism. Satanic Temple is not. That's the easiest way of saying it. But yeah, I am a priest in the Church of Satan. I was going through a bad time, and I was getting some help. And one of the things that I thought about doing was scheduling my life and making a list of things that I wanted to do, things I wanted to see, movies, and books I wanted to read. Top of the list was the Satanic Bible, and it changed me, changed my life, it turned things around for me. I got a bit more focused, and the philosophy resonated with me perfectly.
The Satanic Bible is written by Anton LaVey, correct?
Correct, yes. Yeah, it really resonated with me, and it still does to this day. Every time I reread it, I can sort of almost read myself in there. So it's important to me, and I've been given the title priest. So I'm very happy man. Yeah.
Joel, any perspective? I know you have some experience in the realm. Any perspective on that?
Well, I'm not affiliated with the Church of Satan anymore, but that's how David and I met many years ago. And I will say, a lot of people know David through his music. I know David as the guy who traveled from Denmark at his expense to attend my wedding ritual in 2009. Came all the way out to New York for that. And that really meant a lot to me. I know it meant a lot to my missus at the time. And, my perspective on it is I've met some of the most extraordinary people I've ever known. That organization. I'm very grateful and fortunate to still be friends with all of them who I count as friends. And what does it represent to me? Well, it represents the fact I can meet someone like David Ingram, and we can become friends. And in 2026, with the pandemic, and we've said goodbye to a lot of people in the last few years, the fact that we could sit here, different parts of the country, different parts of the world, and have a good chat on a Sunday, that's what Satanism always represents to me. It's that fundamental combination of extraordinary people and great friendships, So it's just fucking so nice to see you, man. It really is.
Oh, thank you, mate. Yeah, it's always good to see you. It's always good to hang out and chat. I mean, that time in the hotel room, I shouldn't go there.
What
happens in Baltimore?
Yeah.
I think you're okay, Josh. Josh says, I sincerely apologize if that was a rude question or too private. I think you're all right.
No, not at all.
I think we handled it, Josh. Thank you.
Yeah.
This has come up a couple times during the show, being a Birmingham denizen. Any haunting experiences in Birmingham? It's talked about a lot there.
Not me. I mean, I'm not really a believer in ghosts, if that's what you're referring to. The only spirits I knew were gin, whiskey, those sort of things.
Right.
But There probably was, but I never experienced anything like that. To be honest, I've experienced some weird things at the job I work at right now. I've worked there for 20 years. It's a cancer research facility, and the top floor used to be a hospital for palliative care for people who were not going to make it. And that place, you go up there, because I always get there at like 5 o'clock in the morning, and this time of year, everything's dark. So you go up there in the dark, and it feels odd.
Oof.
But and I've heard singing and whistling going on in certain areas. I'm the only one in the building at that time, and I've heard singing happening. So yeah, there's some weird things, but I'm not really a believer in that at all. Don't believe in afterlife or anything like that. Like, right here is what we got, so enjoy yourselves.
That's right. Let's go for it. Hideous Strength asks, how did you develop your vocal style, or does it just come natural?
It was natural. It was really natural. There were sort of guys that I respected, like Cam Lee and Tom G. Warrior, and I'd go as far to say the Venom singer Kronos. And I always try to pronounce the words, and not just sort of do the where you can't understand the damn thing, the pig squeals as well. And so yeah, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to actually pronounce words and say things.
Sure.
If I'm going to spend the time writing the lyrics, I'm going to make sure people can hear the damn things.
Sure.
So, and it was more a natural process for me to sing like that than to actually train or do anything. I did see someone ask how I prepare before a gig. I don't. I should warm up. But I don't. And I know it's wrong of me not to, but I don't. Oh, there he is, looking fat on stage. But yeah, so I mean, I do tend to take. I take a note from Pete Steele's book. I started taking a bottle of wine on stage with me. Because
a bottle. I remember seeing Pete Steele coming on stage with a gallon jug. The one you put your finger through is like a gallon. A gallon jug of wine.
Okay, that's a little too much. We want to focus on the gig and not be completely hammered before we go on stage. There's been a few times I've done that, so apologies to any gig that people were at where I was drunk.
Yeah, everybody's
before we played.
Had that one.
I think everyone goes through that. They screw up. But no, we want to focus now and do the gig. And it's great having a glass of wine, a bottle of wine, and a couple of beers during the gig. And I'm sort of nicely warmed up by the end, and I'm burning it off while we're playing the show. In doing the homework, it looks like you guys really have a good time together out there. Yeah, we do. I mean, the three of us, we're getting on a bit, but we go out there and we put on a proper show. Even if there was only 2 people in the audience, we still do exactly the same show because they paid, and it's your job to give them the same show. You don't go out there and dick around if there's only 2 people there. Right? Well, put on the same show, and we always do.
That echoes to me the old Chuck Dukowski of Black Flag ideology of, you go out there and you play as hard to 2 people than 2,000 or whatever. These people paid, and that's what you do. It's a real a real old school DIY ethic. Differences from performing with Benediction at Bolt Throw or live or in the studio?
Yeah, I mean, Benediction is more. I've always found that people will remember you a lot better if you make them laugh. So Benediction will do some sort of stupid things while we're playing the song. Like I'll chase the bass player around, or we'll do the Three Stooges and stuff like that. But with Bolt Throw, it was a little more serious. So there was that difference as well. And you can hear with Benediction with the stage banter, there's always, I'll insult the drummer at least twice in a gig. Like what was the one? It was something like, I call Gio my little Happy Meal because he comes with a toy inside. we keep the comedy, we keep it going, and we have a good time. Bolt Thrower was serious. We still had a good time, and we still put on a very good show. But there was no slapstick. There was no pantomime with Bolt Thrower. Benediction is. I think the old bass player said it once. Dan Bay, who played on the Scriptures album. He said, "Oh, it's time for the Benediction pantomime," and we were just heading on stage. And that sort of did sum it up, because we like to have a laugh. That's Dan on the end there, underneath the logo.
Yeah. That said, as we head down the home stretch here, I know it's late there. Any plan coming to America anytime soon? Is that tough for you guys? Is that tough for you guys at this point?
It has been. It has been, and it's getting tougher. I mean, I'm coming over to visit sometime next year, and the whole thing with the travel visa just for tourists now, they want 5 years of your social media just to make sure you didn't say anything wrong about the orange clown. So there's that, but for a working band, we came just earlier last year in May. We were there. We did 3 shows: Chicago, New York, and then the Maryland Death Fest. And we had to get by work visas, and they're so expensive. And luckily, the guy who does the Maryland thing, he sort of paid for it, because he just had a lump sum of money to hand over to the visa people, because he had so many bands coming into the States and they needed visas. So we just we have a difficult time, so we have to make it worthwhile. And again, the only way to do that is to do a long tour, which physically I'm unable to do. It's like a catch-22 situation.
It's a catch-22,
yeah. So, but we don't want to not come to America. We do want to come. So.
Yeah, we see that happening more and more frequently now. We just played with GBH in San Francisco, and Jock, they didn't let Jock in, and they had to go on without him. But this is also, we had Peter Bywaters from Peter and the Test Tube Babies on. They went into his social media, and they found some stuff, and they're not letting him back in either.
Yeah, it's stupid. Like, oh, you're not allowed to have an opinion. All right. Wow. Yep. Fuck.
You know what? The days of kind of Frank Zappa parody. Remember parody? It just is not. It's non-existent. There's no sort of parody or no sort of humor connected with the stuff anymore. It's
frowned upon and not allowed, and the cult will come down on you just as tough as the authorities will. It's, And when we came over last time in May, I went through my social media and just searched on certain keywords, like, for example, orange clown, and sort of any post that came up that to do with it, I just deleted them. So, it's a sorry state of affairs, and you've got to do that just to stop hurting someone's feelings.
Yeah, for sure. Joel, as we head down the home stretch, and anything as we part ways with David?
Well, I just want to say again, it's great to see you. Great to have you on the show. Very happy to see all your very positive updates on social media with your life activities. You seem very content, very happy, which thrills me to no end, David. So I just appreciate you coming on, man, and joining our viewers and being a part of this. And couldn't imagine a better way to start off the new year for myself. So thanks for coming on, man.
Oh, thank you very much, mate. Thanks to you as well, Drew, and thanks to everyone for tuning in. Cheers, everybody. It's been fucking awesome.
Yeah, thanks a lot, David. And anybody else you want to thank? Anybody else you want to shout out?
Well, obviously Heidi, my wife, and we'll say Ozzy the cat as well, because I'm covered in scratches from the little bastard. But Heidi for sure. I love you, babe.
Okay. Thanks a lot, David. Good luck out there. We hope to see you soon.
All right. Thank you both.
Take care. Good night. Good night.
Good night.
Fantastic. There you go.
That was a great one.
Great guy. Great guy.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Thanks, Dave. We'll see you.
Yeah.
He was great. Great. Really nice. And for those wondering why we sort of we didn't go farther, is that Dave, it's late over there, and Dave has to get up for work in like 4 or 5 hours. So it would have just been a little rude to just, keep him on the line into the wee hours. His wife's already sleeping. We just wanted to. Hey, Gabriel, thank you for being part of it. That was great. Zook, that was great. Everybody else, man, great questions today. Keyboard Warrior Assassin, great. Josh, I know you were into this guest. Just everybody. A lot of Versago one. All you guys really made the show great. Thank you so much. It's cool. Good stuff, man. Yeah, good team effort.
Yeah, we'll be doing it again in two weeks.
How's it going, Drew Stone and Joel? Just tuned in. Oh, it was a good show. It's about to end, but thanks for tuning in for the last 30 seconds of it.
Watch it on YouTube later.
Watch it on YouTube. Thanks a lot, everybody. The next thing that's going on is what's next? 1 week from today, Jennifer Fitch from L7, co-hosted by Laurie Dawn. And then a week after that, Joel will be back with John Gallagher from Raven. I will be doing the Clash thing on January 20th. And then we're playing with Sheer Terror, Minty Fresh Presents. So I hope your New Year's went well, everybody. Joel, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
And,
anytime.
We'll talk soon, man.
All right, man. Take care. Good night, everyone.
Well, there you have it. Another one in the books, episode 410, The New York Hardcore Chronicles Live. Yes, Laurie Dawn's up next. It's 10 o'clock in Scotland. So thanks a lot, everyone. Fantastic show. Really appreciate your support. Still love doing it as we head into the future. I'll see you soon. Until next time, please do good things, and good things will come to you.
Conditioned by indoctrination, conditioned by society. You're a victim of the digital age, a 21st century casualty. Open your eyes,